If you've ever led a project, you get it. You can have the perfect plan, the best budget, the most amazing timeline, but if the people side of things goes sideways, the whole thing can just fall apart. See, success isn't just about managing tasks, it's about leading people. So, how do you get good at that? Well, let's open up the playbook. And hey, if you want proof of just how important this is, just look at the PMP exam, the gold standard for project management. It used to be all about process, all the technical nitty-gritty. But the exam has evolved, and it reveals a really critical truth about what it means to lead today. And that truth is this number, right here, 42%. Yeah, think about that. Nearly half the game has absolutely nothing to do with charts and schedules, and everything to do with leading your team effectively. So this explainer, it's your guide to totally mastering that essential 42%. Okay, first things first, high-performing teams, the kind we all dream of, they don't just magically appear. They are built. And it's not some kind of secret art. It's actually a pretty predictable process. A great leader just knows how to guide their team through it. And that process is perfectly laid out by something called the Tuckman ladder. So teams start out by forming. Everyone's polite, feeling each other out. But then comes storming. Now this is where things get interesting. Disagreements pop up, personalities clash. A lot of leaders panic here, but you shouldn't. It's not just normal, it's a necessary step. Your job is to help the team get through it and into norming, where they start building trust and setting ground rules. And from there, they can finally reach performing, where they're firing on all cylinders. Your real job as a leader is to be the guide up that ladder, especially through that tricky storming bit. So how do you move through that storming phase without everything just blowing up? Well, you use a team charter. And this is not some document you hand down from on high. It's a rule book the team creates for itself. You figure out your shared values, how you're going to communicate, and this is key, how you'll handle disagreements before they even happen. It's the foundation for turning that inevitable friction into real collaboration. Another chaos killer? Crystal clear roles. And a RACI chart is your best friend for this. It spells out who does what for every single task. R is for responsible. That's the person actually doing the work. A is for accountable, the one single person who ultimately owns it. Then you have C for consulted and I for informed. And here's a pro tip. There should only ever be one A for any given task. This one rule eliminates so much confusion and that classic, wait, I thought you were doing that problem. All right, so your team is built, the rules of the road are clear, but a foundation is pretty useless if you don't build anything on top of it. That brings us to the day-to-day work of leadership, keeping that team humming along. The whole idea of a manager has really changed. The old school boss was the one at the top, directing traffic. But today's most effective leaders, they're what we call servant leaders. Your main job isn't to command, it's to serve your team. You remove obstacles for them, you coach them, you help them grow. You're not the hero of the story. You're the guide who helps the heroes succeed. Now, part of serving the team is keeping them motivated, and it's really important to know the difference between your tools here. A reward is tangible and expected, right? Think a bonus for hitting a sales target. It's tied to an outcome. But recognition, that's different. It's intangible, it's often a surprise, and it's all about behavior, like publicly thanking someone for going above and beyond to help a teammate. Both are super powerful, but you use them for different reasons. But let's be real, even with the best team and the best leader, storms are going to roll in. Conflict is just what happens when passionate people work together. A weak leader tries to avoid it. A great leader knows how to navigate it. So let's open up the toolkit. And this right here is a crucial mindset shift. You can't be afraid of conflict, because when you handle it the right way, it can actually lead to better ideas, stronger bonds, and a better project. It's a massive opportunity, not just a problem to be solved. So what's in this toolkit? Well, you've basically got 5 main strategies. You can withdraw, just ignore the problem. You can smooth it over and focus only on the things you agree on. You can compromise, where everybody gives up a little something. You can force a decision with your authority. Or, the most powerful move of all, you can collaborate to find a totally new solution that works for everyone. And here's the kicker. Each of these strategies leads to a pretty predictable outcome. If you force a decision, you create a winner and a loser, and that can seriously damage team morale. Compromise sounds nice and fair, but a lot of the time it's actually a lose-lose, where nobody really gets what they need. The ultimate goal, the one you should always be aiming for, is collaboration. Yeah, it's harder and it takes more time, but it's the only path to a true win-win, where the final solution is actually better than what either person wanted in the first place. So, we've built the team, we know how to lead them, and we've got a toolkit for the inevitable storms. But these aren't just separate skills you pull out of a bag. When you weave them all together, they create an impact that goes way, way beyond just finishing a project on time. And honestly, this is the whole point. Mastering that 42%, the people stuff, is what takes you from being just a manager to being a true leader. You're not just creating a product or a service, you're building skills, you're fostering real teamwork, and you're empowering people to do more than they ever thought they could. And that impact, it lasts long after the project is done. At the end of the day, these aren't just techniques in a playbook, they're choices. They're the choices you make every single day that define who you are and what your impact is. So the only real question left is, what kind of leader will you choose to be?